AITA for being honest about why we decided on fertility treatment over adoption? My friends and I have always had a mostly negative view on people who exhaust themselves with doing fertility treatments when they can't have kids instead of just adopting existing children. My husband and I ended up struggling with infertility. So we decided right away to start on adoption. First, we tried both a private adoption agency and foster care, and got as far as the home study both times. Our house is old and there are a lot of weird idiosyncrasies with the house. But we're completely up to date on electrical and plumbing codes. So we thought this would be just a formality. 2 generations of my family grew up there. It was perfectly safe. Not to them. They had huge issues with the house. They considered 2 of the bedrooms to not be a bedroom because it was too small. They didn't like that the main level floor was uneven. We have a problem with squirrels trapping themselves in the roof somehow. And the social worker was appalled that we just let them scratch themselves out. There's nothing we can do. We don't know how they're doing it. And unless children are squirrels now, no child is getting up there to get stuck that way. It was ridiculous. But it didn't matter. The verdict from both was that our home was fundamentally unsafe. We did look into fixing it. Every single person who ever owned that home had tried to fix the things that were wrong, but we tried again. The house just couldn't be fixed to their standards without becoming actually dangerous. It was fine and safe to live in. But we also wouldn't be able to sell because it was imperfect. The verdict was that if we wanted to adopt a child, we would have to demolish our home to sell the land and then buy a new house, on top of agency fees. We did the math, and the truth was that with housing prices in our area, adopting a child would actually cost us at minimum $450,000. Even if we had to do IVF surrogacy, it would only cost about $130,000. It no longer made any sense to adopt. So we committed to doing treatments. Our total ended up being much less than that because thankfully our first round of IVF worked in. We didn't need a surrogate. We now have a child. One of our friends made a very honestly ignorant post about spending $100K on a child of your own, while children sit in foster care. I decided to comment on it, telling her the full story for the first time, explaining how expensive adoption can truly be. There's been a lot of comments and now she and some of our friends are now mad at me for making adoption look like a bad and terrible thing. I was just trying to show that there isn't just one side to this and that there are valid reasons to make both choices. AITA?
I gotta see how fucked up this house is.
To the people saying that adoption involves too much intrusive investigations into your life. Partly it's because children who are up for adoption have already had something terrible happen in their life. So there is a duty of care to ensure that they are going to the right place. YTA. So let me get this straight. You can judge people on their private and extremely personal decisions based on whatever their situations are. But when it comes to you, hey, the holier than thou attitude jumps out. Some other things disturbing me. 1. Everything came down to money? Money was all that mattered to you? 2. You ignored the professionals telling you your house is unsafe. 3. You now think IVF is better. BCS, you went through it and you don't think adoption is good enough. Hypocrite is what this reeks of. You were part of a group that habitually judges the family planning of others. You can't be surprised when they then judge you. They didn't have the life-changing experience you did and therefore haven't changed. It sounds like you all need a wake-up call. When friendships are based on othering others in circumstances you can't imagine they aren't healthy friendships. Think about if this group is worth your time and learn from your mistakes. I'm sorry things were so difficult for you and hope your pregnancy goes well. A quirky little house, a squirrely attic sounds like the setting for a children's novel. You and your friends are judgmental on subjects you don't understand. You have been told several times your home is unsafe for children and needs to be knocked down as it can't meet safety standards. So you ignore that and have kids in it anyway. Then you get prissy because your mates judge you the way you judge others. Finally, the overriding factor in all of this has been money. Not love of children. Joys and challenges of parenting. Sharing experiences with loved ones. Nothing, just money. Everything about this is awful. My friends and I have always had a mostly negative view on people who exhaust themselves with doing fertility treatments when they can't have kids instead of just adopting. You and your friends suck for being so judgmental about how people struggling with infertility go about becoming parents, as well as for thinking, just adopting, is so easy. You learned it's not so easy. But not for the reasons most of my infertile friends have discovered. One friend, for example, had 3 just adoptions fall through, 2 weeks after the child was born and had already come home to them. Mother changed her mind. Unless you are super lucky. There is no such thing as just adopting, and you're all the assholes for thinking otherwise. YTA. You've just discovered the hard way why other people's fertility decisions are not yours to judge. I'm adopted. I know at Leah's the Canadian system well. You might be fine with the weird things about your house, but they honestly don't deny people unless it's structurally unsound. Also, who lets squirrels live in and claw out of their roof with regularity? Like, do something about it. You obviously have the financial means to do basic repairs to stuff like that. You were happily judging people and were surrounded by friends who did the same. It's just your turn to face karma. If you don't like it, be a better person and surround yourself with better people. And I feel bad for your child who's gonna be lumped with trying to deal with your property when you die. Yes. You got a serious reality check on all sides. It isn't fun being judged for your reproductive choices. Is it? YTA. You were happy to judge others on their personal matter. But somehow it was different for you. Hypocrite. YTA. You've been told your house is unsafe for kids to live in. So you decided to get a kid to live in it. You're endangering their life due to your extreme selfishness and bullheadedness. Get out of that home before having a child. No matter how you're doing it. And really, squirrels are scratching themselves out of the roof? So you're living in a place with holes in the roof? Yeah. No child should be there. This is a clear Those regulations are there for a reason, and your house is obviously a complete write-off if you couldn't even sell it as is. There's clearly no way a child should be raised in that house. Sell and move to an appropriate home for your child. FFS. You're all judging how people you don't know handle infertility. Gross. Sounds like your friends were already that way and you knew it but are surprised they would judge you too? Q in Pikachu face. Don't put out what you can't take. YTA. Also that multiple home inspections have found your living space unsafe and you still brought a kid into it makes you even more of an awe.
ESH.
You and your friends sat in judgment of other people for no reason other than to be judgmental assholes. There were only valid reasons to make both choices and multiple sides to the situation once it affected you. As someone who has gone through fertility treatments to have my daughter, people like you and your friends suck. YTA for raising a child in that clearly unsafe house. I think you and all of your friends are shitty people for sitting in judgment about how people handle their own infertility. I think you're doubly bad for not saying, "I've had a change of heart after realizing there is so much I don't understand about adoption and IVF," and instead saying, "You don't understand. I'm better than others who choose IVF because in my situation, it's okay." ETA. I think it's wonderful that the op expressed later on in the comments that they truly changed their mind about IVF as a whole. I just believe the best way to handle that conversation is to say that honestly instead of validate the idea that if the costs were reversed, op would be wrong for getting IVF. I am, however, sincerely disappointed to see people arguing for eugenics and explaining why infertile or fertility challenged women are selfish for getting IVF when fertile women aren't selfish for carrying pregnancies. I'm also disappointed that if a woman has a strong opinion about IVF and attitudes surrounding IVF, her own fertility will be made a point of conversation here. I am disappointed that by being a woman and engaging in this discussion, others have decided it's okay to speculate about and insult me about my fertility. Fucking shame on you. Now downvote this to shit.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.